It was Sunday morning, their anniversary. Okon and Mabel sat on their tiny back porch, wondering if God had turned his back on them. They had been married for 22 years, and for 22 years they had waited. But still, no children. In the early years they had comforted each other. "It will happen in God's timing," Mabel would say, squeezing his hand. "We're still young," Okon would reply with a hopeful smile. "We need to be strong." But today God's timing, it seemed, had never arrived. And now both of them were past 40. Okon raised his head. His eyes drifted across the village, settling on the neat row of cottages that lined the dusty road. He had built most of them himself. Carpentry was his gift. He had discovered it at 17 and never let it go. But this morning the pride was gone. What was the point of all this work, he wondered, when there was no one to inherit it? No child to say, "My father built this." For the first time in his life, work no longer felt important. He looked across at Mabel, sitting quietly, her hands folded in her lap. She loved him, always did. He knew it. She'd been loyal for 22 years, still baked the best bread he'd ever tasted. But worry had slowly replaced her smile. The gray hairs had come without permission, and they had stayed. Looking at her now, he had to dispel that thought. It would crush him. Couldn't do it. Couldn't agree to it. But he knew they would come. It was just a matter of time. And he was terrified. His gaze drifted past the village, toward the edge of the land, toward the forest of death, as it was called. It stood between the village and the city, dark and unmoving. Okon had grown up hearing the stories of people who entered and never returned, of strange sounds at night, of spirits, of shrines hidden deep inside, where sacrifices were made. Even the bravest men avoided it, from school children to the village chief. The signboard, now old and weather-beaten, had stood there for decades. Mabel broke the silence. It had grown too heavy for her. She asked if he was ready for breakfast. They ate in silence, as if they both sensed what was coming. After eating, Okon walked over to his wife and wrapped his arms around her. He held her for a long time. Mabel felt comforted, but she also felt something else. It was as though Okon wasn't just holding her. He was also holding himself, trying to keep it together. When he finally let go, he turned toward his hammock. Instantly, he noticed Owadimi running toward him. Owadimi was only 6 years old, but life had aged him early. He lived with his grandmother. His own mother had passed while giving birth to him. Now, he ran errands around the village in exchange for food for himself and his grandmother. His clothes were worn. His sandals barely held together. As he ran toward Okon, something caught Okon's eye. A note. It was pinned to Udami's shirt. Okon froze. His hands began to tremble as he loosened the paper. Without a word, he walked slowly into the cottage. At the doorway, he paused and looked back. Mabel was in the garden, tending to the plants. She looked back at him, and their eyes met. In that moment, they both understood, without a single word, that something had changed forever. Inside the cottage, Okon unfolded the note. It read 1 hour, and when that hour ended, Okon saw them coming. From a distance, he stood perfectly still. Sweat formed on his forehead. His legs felt weak, but he did not move. Mabel saw them too. She left the garden, and retreated to her bedroom. That was the moment Okon realized. Some choices cannot be undone.